So Five Nights at Freddy's is a crappy horror movie that everyone seemed to be weirdly excited for. I'm not sure exactly what made everyone have an atomic bomb in their pants for this. Based off the trailer, it already looked like a monumental waste of effing time from the jump. This is a very boring, time-consuming, scare-free horror movie that was made by people who seem like they've never made a horror movie before. But apparently the director Emma Tammy has made a horror movie before called The Wind, which I've never seen. But apparently the critics liked it, but the fans didn't, so I have to watch it at some point to make up my mind. I'm honestly not really a big fan of period piece horror movies. It's just not really my thing, except maybe for The Witch, I guess. But Five Nights at Freddy's just feels like this amateurish, scaryless, sophomoric waste of time with some of the crappiest acting I've ever seen from a child.
I hate her. She's mean and she smells like cigarettes.
And also characters that feel like they're just taking up space and not actually contributing to the story. The horror element, especially pertaining to the filmmaking, feels so void of effort or skill, and I'll be getting into detail much later in the video. So believe it or not, this movie actually made its money back, but I think it's fairly clear why that is the case. So say it with me, everyone. Brand recognition, bro. So yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's was a popular 2014 point-and-click video game that Markiplier spearheaded promotionally during his playthrough.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie horror game that you guys suggested en masse, and I saw that
Now I actually remember being pretty terrified of the game, and thanks to Markiplier's reactions, the genuine fear and tension that I got from the presentation really gave the experience one of the most terrifying things I've ever been through. The feeling of being stationary and you're pretty much outnumbered, causing you to be consistently perceptive and on edge, is what made the experience a great horror game. This followed by the simplicity of the setup and the concept, leaving room for the player to fully participate in the horror elements. Scott Cawthon, whose name I'm not pronouncing well, managed to use the criticism from his former games to make something completely unique and original while still being simple in concept. And I bring this up because the movie attempts to cram several of the titles together and made this the most tedious, boring, drawn-out horror film since The Strangers. Dude, I swear I dozed off 3 times trying to sit through this movie. There are repetitive moments that do nothing but stagnate the progressiveness of the plot. The horror elements are a complete joke. There's not a single skillful moment of horror in this horror movie. It's almost comedic how well they managed to make the reveal of the animatronics completely ineffective. Instead of finding interesting ways to reveal the animatronics and the environment they're in, they just blatantly cut to them with no filmmaking skills whatsoever to elicit fear. They could have used music to cut to the animatronics. They could have given them distinctive sounds to catch the audience off guard.
No!
But no, Emma Tammy just goes for the most bare bones horror tricks in the book, and this is just followed with how badly these scenes are paced. Instead of being patient and allowing scenes to have a certain degree of build up, they give no build up and just go for the objects making noises in the background, but in 2 seconds follow up with a cheap devoid of effort jump scare of the real thing that's scary. And you know what? The animatronics actually look pretty great. They were helped by the Jim Henson Company. Sometimes they would have puppeteer usage when they're stationary, other times they'd have to use stunt performers for more demanding full body movement. But they don't utilize them right. They're not a threat in this movie at all. I mean, they're a threat when the plot needs them to be, or they're friendly when the plot needs them to be. And this just adds to the fact that the plot is so freaking jumbled. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Okay, so Josh Hutcherson's character is using Sigmund Freud's dream theory book to communicate answers of what happened to his brother. So he takes sleeping pills and goes into his own dreams as if he's transporting or warping into his own head, and manages to literally communicate to the kids in his dream that were kidnapped by some crazy guy that also kidnapped his brother. You see, it's not like Inception where they have the technology that specifically transports their consciousness into a different version of their psyche during the dream. He's just popping sleeping pills and now it's like he has some sort of meta ability that he can keep going into. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. He's it's like he's literally talking to other people in his dream as if he's fully conscious in the dream world while not being fully conscious outside the dream because he's sleeping. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Can somebody explain that to me in the comments, please? But apparently the animatronics are psychic and are entering into his own dream and communicating using breadcrumb strategy about his brother's disappearance. You see, this is what I'm saying though. Like, this movie, this is too big of a pill to swallow. It's one thing to establish that their bodies bodies are possessing the animatronics, but entering into other people's dreams. I mean, at that point, why didn't they just tell Josh Hutcherson's character who did it instead of stretching the length of this movie for the sake of stretching the length of this movie? Like, what do they get if they have his sister anyway? Since when did the bad guy just start wanting to collect kids again? I mean, there were obviously more than 6 animatronics that had kids possessing them, but like, what does he need another kid for? Did the original security guard not have a child or something? Or did the people that break into the building not have a child anyway and just kill them? Did he really need it for that one specific robot? Then why didn't he just use some of those people that he already killed? Why use the kid? And for some reason, the ghost kids are able to communicate through pictures outside of the building. I'm not really sure exactly. That's not explained properly, and I'm not gonna try to figure it out right now because this movie's stupid. Okay, so I'm just gonna start spitballing a bunch of stuff that happened in this movie because this movie's really boring, honestly. Okay, so the kids go into the little girl's house only now near the third act of the movie instead of doing it earlier. In both situations, Josh Hutcherson's character is already at the building. At one point he's working, but they wait till he's kidnapped to do it. But what's the difference? He's sleeping in the building anyway, so they could have gone over there anyway, like much earlier while he was just completely out of it. So yeah, you see how that doesn't make any sense, right? Like logistically, that makes no freaking sense. So I hated the cop chick as she was a very inconsistent character in her writing and in her character, and the actress that played her was abysmal. At one point she tells Hutcherson's character, "You're gonna quit soon," and then she apparently was part of this whole plan to bait him and his sister in the building anyway, so why is she even telling him that if she's part of this operation? Like, did the writers forget that they put that line in her dialogue? Okay, whatever. But she also says that she'll shoot Josh Hutcherson's character if he lets his sister get near the animatronics, right after she just helped them make a fort with terrible background music and an awkward montage. Like, is she bipolar? Okay, I don't know.
You can do whatever you want with your own life, but if you ever bring Abby back here again, I will shoot you.
But you were okay with her hanging out with the other animatronics earlier. You were even gonna get towels for the fort. You were so excited. You were like, oh, here they are. There's the towels right here. And now all of a sudden it's, oh, this accident happens, so it's your fault, big brother. I'm gonna shoot you because you let her get near them, even though as we were in the closet getting stuff, she was already associating with them anyway. Like, why are you blaming him for the electric accident instead of Abby's own typical childlike stupidity? Did the animatronics intentionally cause a guitar to go haywire and have electrical problems so that she can fall back and hurt herself so that they can sabotage their own plans to kidnap her anyway, thus defeating the purpose of why they baited her to come here in the first place, conveniently with their brother? Like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so Matthew Lillard's acting was atrocious also. I prefer the natural, subtle suspicion of the original voice actor from the game, but here Lillard sounds like a crazy person that's up to something in the beginning of the movie, and as if he read the script and said, my character seems like a crazy person that's up to something, so I'm gonna disregard any credit I would give to the audience and just ham this up.
Coffee?
Sorry?
I'm gonna be brutally honest with you here, Mike. Given your track record, your options are gonna be extremely limited. I have a job for you.
I mean, at the very least, he had charisma and seemed like he was having fun with movies like Scooby-Doo and Scream. Okay, so why didn't he just take all those pictures off the walls so that the animatronics have nothing to clue into? Like, homie, you literally played yourself. I mean, these pictures apparently have been on the wall for a long time and you never thought to take them off so that they don't realize that you were playing them and you got yourself killed. And it's kind of weird that they come across these pictures only freaking now. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, and there's also, Matthew Lillard dies. And everybody's happy. There was no tension, no stakes, no consequences, no energy, no nothing. And also apparently there was some plot point where the aunt was trying to take the daughter in her own custody or something like that. And I guess her sons or whatever they were trying to get in there. It was just a really pointless plot point that did nothing for the movie and added nothing to the movie. You could have taken that out and you never would have, you wouldn't lose anything. But yeah, so yeah, this movie was very boring. It was very terrible. As you can see, I was very interested in talking about it. The movie just has nothing scary to offer. So if you excuse me, I'm gonna go watch Hereditary by a director that actually understands horror and filmmaking. And this movie gets a 1 out of 5 stars. The 1 is for the production value because the production value was actually pretty good overall. So yeah, skip the movie. All right, peace.